Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Situation Awareness Matters. Real talk with real people. On today's episode, we're going to take it back to our grassroots where we first started roughly about 20 episodes ago. And we're going to talk about SA or Situation Awareness Matters. This episode is titled When Bad Equals Good. I am Lee Schwartzberg, and as always, my esteemed co-host is with me, Rennie Archambault. A quick shout out to our other host, Chet Babcock, who cannot be with us here today. Good morning, Rennie.
Morning, brother. How are you?
Good morning. All right, let's dive right in, shall we? Okay, so what is situation awareness? Textbook definition is different than the street version, and it's the perception and understanding of one's surroundings and the ability to make decisions based on that understanding. What does all that mean? Well, I like to liken it to an old saying that I created a while ago when we were talking about it. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. The statement that I created a while ago was, or the question is actually, when bad equals good. Now, bad is the B is baseline, A is anomaly, and D equals decisions. So a little explanation about that and how that works is it's critically important to establish a baseline first, right? What is considered normal and acceptable for the situation and the environment that you're currently in. So your baseline changes based on your environment. For instance, let's say it's summertime and everyone's wearing shorts and t-shirts and flip-flops outside, and it's 90-degree weather. That's acceptable, right? Of course it's acceptable because it's baseline, it's 90-degree weather. Well, what about if you're in that same environment and someone has on a bulky hoodie or a long sleeve sweatshirt, combat boots, thick pants, and it's still 90-degree weather? Well, that's an anomaly now, isn't it? That's your first clue, right? What do we notice about this person? We can make a mental image in our head. Sunglasses on a cloudy day, imprinting on his waistline. For those who don't know what imprinting is or printing, it is the movement of your clothing around some sort of weapon or some sort of disguised, improvised weapon. That's called printing or imprinting, right? Well, imprinting on his chest, on his ankles, around his waistline, or anywhere. What does his body language say? Is he hunched up? Is he looking down? Is he looking straight at someone? Is he hyper-focused at something? Is he holding a backpack or a duffel bag? Something like that, etc. Right? So those are just a few examples of an anomalies. An anomaly is something that doesn't belong in the current situation or environment. Now, it's time to make a decision, the D part of the bad. The industry standard is after 3 anomalies, you immediately make a decision because your brain, the normal untrained brain, can only handle 3 pieces of direct information at one time. So that could be, your decision could be one of a few things, right? 1, engage the threat if you're armed, leave the immediate area and notify the proper authorities if you're unarmed, or GTFO and find a way to escape. Now, this is when bad equals good. Baseline plus anomaly equals decision. This is the matrix. Rennie, tell me your thoughts on the baseline anomaly.
First, I want to say good morning to the Facebook user that just signed in and say good morning to us.
There we go.
Okay, baseline, bad. BAD, that's 3 things like you previously mentioned. The average human mind under ideal conditions with no stress, I believe, can process, say, 7 to 15 things. When you add stress into that, that greatly diminishes. And so they come up with the number 3. That's how the 911 system was devised. 3 numbers, easy to remember. So my idea of bad baseline, once I establish a baseline, like a wool sweater and sweatpants on a 90-degree day, or I had an incident last year. I was watching 2 guys on a Sunday afternoon in July get out of their truck with hoodies and masks and they went in and they scouted out the local supermarket. They did a 360. I followed them, and then they walked out the door. Of course, I was armed. But so baseline, I established a baseline. It wasn't normal what they were doing that time of year under those conditions. The anomaly was the way they were dressed. So then I made a decision. And so my decision was to follow them around. Of course, I had my hand on my weapon. I had my phone in my hand ready to call 911. So when you establish, once you establish your bad, those are the things that are going to save your life. They're going to enable you to make quality decisions. Do I call 911? Do I get out of there? Do I engage them? Get your family, get in your car, drive, keep driving.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you brought up a very important point about the normal average human being can, under no stress, right, can usually distinguish 7 to 13 or 14 things under no stress, right?
Yeah.
You know, it is interesting, and I did not even make the correlation of the 911 thing. That was it. That was a great point. The 911 thing is 3 numbers, right? When you're under stress and your body starts to condense and shunt, and take all these things and do the stress management that it intrinsically does,
it shuts down. Yeah.
Right. It shuts down, right? So, Randy, you and I, we talk about this a lot about when your pulse rate and your heart rate goes above 140 in those situations because of all the stress, you start to lose your fine motor skills, and then you stop breathing, and then you deprive yourself of oxygen, and you do the minimized floppy fish, right? Not when you're getting tased, the big old floppy fish, right? But you're starving yourself of oxygen, and now you're starting to deprive yourself of the ability to think clearly. So that's why we put it in groups of 3, right?
Yep.
It's a beautiful analogy. So when we talk about that, and we talk about basically enhancing your personal safety, that's also, your personal safety is about you, but when you're by yourself, it's all good because it's just you. And those of you who train know what to do in those situations and when to do it. However, when we talk about personal safety and the safety of others in, let's just say, an active shooter event or any other active violence event, we have the parasympathetic or sympathetic response, right? Flight, fight, or freeze, right? Those are 3 things we do. If we're trained, we know what we're doing. If we're untrained, your body, you as the human individual, is going to drop to the lowest level of your training. You're not going to rise to the highest level. You're going to drop to the lowest level, especially if you have no training. So what does that mean? Get trained, right? Stop playing around. Randy, what do we talk about all the time? Prepare to self-rescue, right?
Hey, there you go. 30 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah. So in this particular personal venue or personal view, right? Let's talk about how we can significantly improve our safety by helping to identify potential threats and respond effectively, right? Potential threats. Let's talk about that just for a hot minute here, right? Anything and everything could be a potential threat. When we talk about, like, I always joke around my 2 little dogs, I call them ankle biters, right? Because, they're not much taller than my ankle. So we call them ankle biters. Could they be potential threats? Absolutely. Are they? Normally, no, right? Is grandma a potential threat? Sitting down in her wheelchair in her dementia? Normally, no. What if she grabs a cane?
Could be.
Right? What if she runs over your foot? I mean, we're talking silliness here, but those are all things that the situational awareness helps protect yourself. Like, here's one that bugged me out a while ago. Hey, do you remember those the rims, the spinners on the inside of the rims?
Yeah, they're $5,000 a piece.
Yeah, right. So they bugged me out when I first saw them, regardless of the price. I would never do that. But when the vehicle is stopped, the inside of the rim still spins.
Yeah.
It took me I don't know, a good 3-4 seconds to realize that even though those spinners were still spinning, the vehicle was stopped. You know, a situational awareness thing. There are plenty of different examples and different stories of things like that, but situational awareness matters. It does in everyday, in applications of daily life, right? We're talking about, Ryan, did you take the subway or the train or anything ever?
Oh, when I worked for the State Department in D.C., I took the metro. Yeah.
All right. So that was a huge opportunity for situational awareness, right?
Yeah.
You know, and I like to talk about, we'll talk about this later, but I call it the zombie apocalypse, right? Let me get my phone, right? So it's when everyone is doing, I don't know if you can see this, right? They're perfect right here, right? That's what the zombie apocalypse is. Everyone has their phone in their face and not paying attention.
Everybody does it today. I notice it every freaking day. Everybody.
Yeah. From our age group, our generation, who shouldn't be doing that because they should know better, to the younger generation who grew up with cell phones and that's all they know. That is a huge opportunity for situational awareness to smack you either in the back of the head or in your kneecaps when you least expect it, right?
By doing that, situational awareness ain't going to do shit for you because you're not able to see the threat coming at you.
Right. There is no situational awareness when your head's in your phone. You're
There you
texting, you're looking at your email, you know, you're egomaniacally looking at how many people liked your post or how many people didn't like your post or whatever craziness. So let's talk about applications in daily life. How aware are you? There's gonna, oh, I know, Mr. Producer, do you have the video of the federal awareness test? I love that one. If you don't have it, then I'll send you the link here shortly. But you just reminded me, right? Rennie, we talked about this. I showed that video. Mr. Producer, if you have that video, if you throw that up, that'd be great. Because that is a incredible I call them homeless security. Here it is. All right, check this out. This is an incredible video. Watch this. There's no sound right now, so hold on a second. Just watch. All our litness watch. And then Rennie, check this out.
Here's your challenge. How many people in orange shirts get subs? Go. Seven people in orange shirts got subs. But what else did you see? Did you notice the ice cream truck change to a pizza truck? Did you notice the glasses? What about the man leaving the suspicious package next to the truck? Your next challenge? Be aware of your surroundings. If you see something suspicious, say something to local authorities.
Yeah, that one. Mr. Producer, can you play the second one as well? Because that's another good one in this link. So situational awareness is multifaceted. It's not just paying attention to one thing, right? It gave you the guideline to look at something and didn't tell you that there are other things for you to look at. So what does that mean? Don't get hyper-focused. Don't get that tunnel vision, right? I love that video, and Homeland Security actually did a really great job on that. So, well, I got to find the link to the second video. Give me a second. But the applications in daily life are innumerable, right? What do we look at in the morning? Well, I tell you what I look at in the morning. For instance, when I get up in the morning, first thing I do is I'll open my eyes and I look at my two windows by my bedroom. Do I see any, and I scan everything. That's just who I am and what I do. And I notice anything out of the ordinary. You have to train yourself to do that. If not, we get complacent, and complacency kills, doesn't it?
Yep.
Right. Randy, you have a farm, and there are things that go on in the back of your house that change every day. And you have to know what is baseline, what is the anomaly, and then make a decision based on those factors, right?
Yeah.
The challenge is different for me living in suburbia. Still the same. I still got to create a baseline. I still have to look for my anomalies, and I still have to make a decision. Whether I'm getting out of my house and there's ice on the ground, whether I have to, and I did this the other day and I laughed, but when I put my Christmas tree lights up, I did it so that the outside lights and decorations, I did it so the electrical cords were basically towards the inside of the house, so the level of the house that's where the crease is. And there's one of them, because I have this Christmas tree thing in my yard, that I didn't bury the cord. And lo and behold, I tripped on the cord. Whoopsie, right? So there's a gentle reminder for me, because I didn't fall ass over tea kettle into the concrete, but gentle reminder for me, pay attention, stupid, right? Right. Tell me some things that you should look at in the morning that would be a baseline that creates the anomaly, and some decisions you made about where you live. Practical tips.
For me?
Yeah.
Well, I always look out the window to see what the horse is doing, because his situational awareness is a lot more keen than mine is.
Important, right?
If I see him staring at something with his eyes up, I usually grab my rifle and go out there and take a peek around. He's never disappointed me.
I didn't think about, or I didn't look at paying attention. Your situational awareness matters, and paying attention to those who have a greater situational awareness than we do.
Animals do, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you said it earlier in the program. Your dog's my horse.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have chickens and I sell eggs, and I had a sign at the end of the driveway with a red cooler, because eggs are selling cheaper around here than they were at the market, like $4 a dozen cheaper. But then I had people coming up, ringing the doorbell and banging on the door, which for me was a no-no. That was crossing the line that they shouldn't have crossed. Because every time I got a video, my son last week was at work, and he got I'll send it to the producer to play, but he got a thing on his doorbell camera. He lives 10 minutes from home. He went home. He ended up, the druggie was breaking into his house. He ended up holding her at gunpoint for the state police. So situational awareness around your house does matter. My son, in his case, and he has 2 dogs, but he chose to install, digital doorbell cameras because he lives way out in the woods.
I sigh in, desperation, if you will, that this is what our day-to-day life has come to, right? We have to have better decision-making skills, better problem-solving skills, and overall ability to sense anomalies. Trust your instincts. When the hair on the back of your neck raises, or when you get that gut feeling, trust it. That is your mentality, your brain telling you something's wrong without telling you something's wrong, without you seeing it. The challenge is always, do we listen to that inner voice that says something's wrong, even if you cannot figure it out? Do you listen to it? And the answer is always yes, right? So when we talk about situational awareness, let's talk about something that most of these other experts and gurus, whatever the hell you want to call them, don't talk about, is digital situational awareness, identity theft, extending your situational awareness to the digital world to include online and privacy, right? there's one or two people out there that have done this, and we're not going to cover it in depth, but we'll touch on it briefly. Your social media profiles, what are you posting on there? Are you posting your kids' schools? Are you posting pictures of your kids? Are you posting pictures of where you live, what's in front of your house? Those are all signs and cues and clues for the bad guys to make decisions. Well, now they have also a baseline, an anomaly, and a decision to make, just in the opposite direction. Their baseline, they're looking for people, basically kids, or people to take advantage of. If you're posting pictures of your schools, of your children's schools, where they're at, what sports teams are playing with, you're giving them the opportunity and the information to make bad things happen. That's just one of the social media things. Rennie?
I'm not talking social media, so I haven't worked for the feds. I have CSI clearance, and that's a huge responsibility. But let me show you situational awareness. This is junk mail. So what I do, my situational awareness, I go through and I peel off the label with all my information on it, my name, my address, everything else. And once a week, I run it through my paper shredder. The rest of the stuff goes out in the garbage can. But if you don't think that's a time-consuming task for me,
Absolutely.
There's another thing coming. But that's how paranoid I am, and that's how situationally aware I am about people finding my personal information. Just by junk mail. Just by junk mail. LL Bean, whatever other catalogs that you get.
Yeah, Sergeant Grit, military ops.
Yeah.
Either way, anyway, all those things, right? Now, here is a term that I want everyone to understand, and it's called cyber hygiene, right? Now, let's talk about that very quickly. Cyber hygiene is keeping your personal information off of the internet highway. How many people are dirty, not dirty like you're disgusting dirty, but dirty with their hygiene on the internet, on especially social media? Just think about it. Right? Online threats. Just the other day, I don't know if you saw this one about the global Amazon hack. People were hacking into people's Amazon accounts and changing their drop-off points.
Yeah.
Right? I look at those and I get all those, don't do this, check this, do that, whatever. And I'm like, I don't know about any of these, but I decided to look at that one. And I'm like, wow, ain't that some shit?
I get a solution. I get a solution for that.
Pre-approved credit card mail. How dangerous is that? Absolutely.
Very dangerous.
Absolutely.
That's a very good point, Facebook user.
Yeah. Another one. It's a beautiful one, right? We're heading into a break here shortly, but when we get back, Rennie, I want you to cover one of your favorite subjects and topics.
Yeah.
The OODA loop. The OODA loop is observe, orient, decide, and act, right? As soon as we get back from the break, Rennie, you're going to go into detail on the OODA loop, and then we're going to talk about how it affects us in our daily life.
Yeah.
So, all right, folks, cyber hygiene. Keep it clean on the internet. Keep your ego off there. Stop putting pictures of your kids' schools, your kids' teams, where they go, where they hang out. There are online predators who look for this stuff.
And stop answering those silly-ass questions people post online. How many states did you visit? Where'd you go to school?
Right.
All those things. Stay away from them.
What is it? I want someone to play with me. Check this, right? Or how many people have done that? And then there's like 40 different things, and they can use that to guess your passwords, get into your accounts. Got to start paying a little bit more attention, right? For those who know, no explanation is needed. For those who know, no explanation is possible.
There you go.
All right. We're heading into a break. We will be back shortly.
what you are. I will always be with you. Doesn't matter what you do, girl. Ooh, girl, want you. No matter where you go, I will always be around. Won't you tell me what you found, girl? Ooh, girl, want you. Knock down the old gray wall. Be a part of it all. Nothing to say, nothing to see, nothing to do. If you would give me all, 'cause I would give it to you. Nothing would be, nothing would be, nothing would be. No matter where you go, there will always be a place. Can't you see it in my face, girl? Ooh, girl, want you. Knock down the old gray wall. Be a part of it all. Nothing to say, nothing to see, nothing to do. If you would give me all, 'cause I would give it to you. Nothing would be, nothing would be, nothing would be. No matter what you are, I will always be with you. Doesn't matter what you do, girl. Ooh, girl, want you. Ooh, girl, you, girl, want you. Ooh, girl, you, girl, want you.
All right, welcome back. Rennie, if you would be so kind as to give us the definition of the OODA loop, what it means, and how do we put it to our usual everyday life?
Observe, orient, decide, and act. Now, it comes with training and experience. I got 30 plus years. So for me, it's like getting up and going to the bathroom. It's automatic for me, you know. For John Q. Public, it probably isn't. Classic example of how it can identify potential threats early on. Last night was dead ass quiet at work. I mean, to the point where I was falling asleep. So about 5:30, I decide to be the asshole in the crowd, and I go sauntering through the back room, and I say, "Hey, guys, gal, let's ratchet up our game plan. You know, it's kind of quiet. It's too quiet." And they started chasing me out the door. You know, they were pissed off. I was going to bring them bad luck. Well, what do you know, about 7:30, the shit hit the fan. So, the lieutenant and I were dealing with a drunk. I mean, this guy, when you talk about first class assholes, this guy was first class. Anyway, we're both trained in martial arts anyway, and this guy was combative. And at one point, he tried to leave, and the lieutenant, grabbed hold of him. And I didn't intervene because I knew he had controlled the situation. But I was watching the other two people that were with him, and they were both triggers. And Not only were they his triggers, but he was trying to impress upon them. So at some point, they made the decision that they had to go. So I removed them from the facility, and then we were able to deal with the individual and end it without any further use of force. That's number one. Mr. Producer, could you show those 4 photos that I sent you, please?
Mr. Producer, that's the video, not the photos. Randy, we don't have the photos. I don't see them.
Oh, I thought I sent them.
We don't have that, but more, just as importantly, right? When as we start to look at those photos, not a big deal, but as importantly, right? The observe, orient, the decide, and act. The challenge is always, it's a loop, right?
Yeah.
Observe, orient, decide, and act. Now, the loop means that it can go this way and it can go that way. So you'd have to observe and maybe act, or maybe orient and then observe and act. And it's a challenge because it's not just 1, 2, 3, 4. It could be 4, 3, 2, 1. It could be 3, 2, 1, 4. It could be any part of those or any set of that equation. Like you said earlier, you have 30 plus years. So you would know what to do and how to make those micro adjustments to make it happen. Go ahead.
No.
Oh, okay. So so when we observe, orient, decide, and act, that's the military version. Oh, there we go. What's this? Okay. Do not report suspicious activity. All right. No worries. All right. So the observe, orient, decide, and act is the military version of it. There is a civilian version of that as well. And shout out to Jason Brooks if you ever watch this from DT for EMS. He created this acronym called RACE. It is a civilian version. It's used in emergency medical services. RACE stands for recognize, analyze, calculate, and execute, right? So all that means is in the civilian portion of it is, what are we looking at? What's our baseline? What are our anomalies and what are our decisions? Recognize what's going on, analyze what you just recognized, calculate what needs to be done and how it needs to be done, and then do it. Though that loop can change. As we speak at this moment, there's no real school or there's no real exercise or program book about it. Randy, maybe we should make the book about that. That's a good idea, right?
What's that?
Make a book about the OODA loop, make a book about race and how to do it, not just what it is. I think we should do that. It's another great idea.
It should be extensive too.
Yeah. That's why I love these podcasts. We always come up with great ideas in the middle of them. All right, Mr. Producer, can you hit that say something challenge video, please? That was the link I sent you. There it is. All right, so yeah, play that if you would.
Here's your challenge. How many riders in green jump the ramps? Go. Five riders in green jumped the ramps. But did you notice the unicyclist?
I noticed the unicycle.
How about the hidden message? Did you see that?
Yeah.
Did you notice the man dropping the suspicious backpack?
Yeah.
Your next challenge Be aware of your surroundings. If you see something suspicious, say something to local authorities.
All right. So recognize, analyze, calculate, and execute. Observe, orient, decide, and act. Same things, but the challenge, and I always use this term, the challenge is always, what are you going to do? Are you going to be stuck in, where's my phone? Are you going to be stuck in here? Where are we? In this mode here, either taking pictures because you want to post it on social media. Look what I did. Look what I did. Look what I saw. Right? Or are you going to be part of the solution instead of part of the problem? Marinate on that for a few seconds, right?
Mr. Producer, did you find those 4 photographs?
Okay, no worries.
All right.
No worries. All right. So, personal safety. Let's talk about personal safety. All right. Preventing sketchy situations, right? You ever walk down a dodgy street and get that weird feeling, the hair on the back of your neck stands up, or you get this pit in the bowl of your stomach? That's your situational awareness kicking in. It's telling you to be on guard and avoid potential trouble. It's like your built-in street smarts. Let's break that down for a minute. Be on guard for what? Be on guard for people lurking in the shadows, people following you, someone trying to size you up, and also be on guard with how you're presenting yourself. Is your head down? Are your shoulders slumped? Do you have this look of disdain or fear on your face? How you look? Are your shoulders back? Are you breathing heavy? Are you walking with purposeful strides? There's an old story about a cop killer. It goes something like this. I'll paraphrase it. A cop killer was intentionally pulled over by a highway guy who had sharp creases, polished boots. The guy took care of himself, slim in his uniform, belt was proper, uniform was proper, haircut was high and tight, and the guy looked like he had it all together. So that cop killer decided not to engage that cop. A few hours later, he intentionally gets pulled over by another cop who's a slovenly pig, pardon the pun. Boots are dirty, has stains all over his shirt, is overweight, his hair is overgrown, and he doesn't play the part. And the story goes, he killed that cop. He physically overpowered him and killed that cop. And when he was finally caught, he said, well, why did you kill the first cop? He said, because the guy had it all together. He looked good, looked sharp. He goes, I didn't want to mess with him because he wasn't an easy target, nor did he look like an easy target. Point of that story is, don't make yourself look like an easy target. Randy, your thoughts?
I agree. I had one of my instructors at the academy told me the same thing. In fact, we had a murder years ago, late 70s. I stopped the guy at 2 a.m. He had one headlight. And he ended up being a killer. I didn't know it at the time. But I wrote him a ticket for the headlight. And about 2 weeks later, I got called into the station at 2 a.m. State police were there. They had a bunch of evidence laid out. They showed me a ticket I had written. They asked me if I recognized it. And I said, yeah, I wrote the ticket because basically the guy was an asshole. You only have one headlight. And the trooper says, that ticket saved your life. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, the guy had the gun in between his crotch. He goes, if he didn't see you get out of the car with the ticket in your hand, you were a dead man.
No shit.
Yeah. And he goes, plus he had second thoughts about really trying to screw you because he goes, you were sharp, you had your shit together. So that's a very good point.
Absolutely.
Polished brass, the whole 9 yards.
Yep, absolutely. And you don't think about that from a civilian perspective. You think about that from the perspective of la, 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 I'm walking down the street, blah, 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 blah. You don't think about, Are the street lights out? Are there any alleyways that people could be hiding in? Are there cars? Are there broken headlights? What does the environment look like? What do broken headlights mean? People don't pay enough attention to get their cars fixed, or they want you to look at that to take away your attention from something else. All right, just something like that, right? It's about outsmarting the bad guys. Criminals are like predators. They go for easy targets, just like a bully goes for an easy target. If you're wandering around like you're in a daydream and you're on Planet 9 or out of this universe, high on drugs, high on life, whatever you're high on, just not paying attention, you're likely to be a target. Stay aware, and you're already one step ahead to reduce your vulnerability. We can't, Rennie and I cannot stress this enough. I joke about it a lot. I say, be alert, right? The world needs more alerts, right? It's a joke, obviously, but it's a play on words. But situational awareness is key. You don't even have to know how to be situation aware. You have to know what you're looking for, right?
Well, like my State Department training, I was always, I was taught to scan roof lines when I was in bad places. And that Christmas parade in Wisconsin last year, they had the active shooter. I think he killed 7 people. He was up on a rooftop. Nobody ever bothered looking up.
Right.
Even when I get to the local supermarket, first thing I do before I get on my truck, I scan the roof lines of all the buildings. Force a habit.
Absolutely, right? Because that's what you do, right? That's what you were trained to do. One of my favorite saying is, you know what you're looking at. I know what I'm looking for. Right? So when someone else other than us or anyone who doesn't have any SA training, situational awareness training, they're looking at the supermarket, right? What are they looking at? Maybe there's a parking lot crowded only because, now we got to park all the way at the end of the goddamn parking lot and walk an extra quarter mile, right?
Or the
They're
for
not
sale
looking
signs
at,
in the windows, yeah.
right. They're not looking at it's okay. It's busy. More opportunity for threats, right? More opportunity for people driving in the parking lot, acting stupid. More people being frustrated with no parking. More people being frustrated, attitudes, things like that. Right? So those are the things we talk about, and those are the things we look about, right? Let's talk about being a risk Jedi. What does that mean, right? We're all playing the game of risk, whether it's in business or life. We risk everything every time we step out our front doors. We risk motor vehicle accidents. We risk getting into a fight with someone who wants to pick a fight with us. Those things, right? Situational awareness it's almost like your cheat code for spotting potential risks and taking them head on. So when we talk about the bad equals good, right? Baseline. Good morning, Jeff. How are you today, sir? We talk about baseline, anomalies, and decisions, right? If we can have at least 30 seconds before left of bang, right? We didn't talk about left of bang yet, but bang is being your incident or the action that happens that's very bad. If you stay left of bang, that means that you're already ahead of that incident. That's what your risk is. It's a cheat code for spotting potential risks. It's how successful people stay on winning on this side of the board. That's how I call it operators, operate operationally. Rennie, your thoughts?
No, I agree. I agree 100%. You need it. I don't personally need a cheat code, neither do you, but people do need a cheat code for spotting potential risk. But I got to emphasize, I know we did a whole segment last week, almost an hour and 40 minutes on the economy. But the best advice I can give people is invest in the training. You'll get the training, you'll get the materials, we'll drill it into you. Just like for us, it'll become second nature to you.
And where do we get that training, Rennie? Shameless plug coming.
i12 GIA.com or POMT.org.
Absolutely. Jeff B said, how about educating us good decisions to make with the information. We can see the risk, but now how do you respond? Right. So Jeff, that's what Rennie was just talking about. Exactly what he's talking about. You can make good decisions, or you can think about good decisions, but we spoke about this earlier in the show in the beginning, right? Baseline, anomaly, and decisions. You can see the risk, but how do you respond? You respond by knowing where to get your training, right? What do we do in response situations? Sympathetic, parasympathetic, right? Flight, or freeze, right? Usually it's flight. The third one is freeze, and that's because your parasympathetic says, oh shit, and stops, because it has nothing to draw on, has no experience to rely or back itself up to train. So how do you respond? You respond by getting training. That's how you respond. Getting proper training, knowing not what to do, but when to do it. Look, here's the other part of this, right? Randy, you and I are both martial artists for a very long time. We understand how this plays out. When your heart rate goes above 140 and you're in one of those oh shit situations where you're forced to defend yourself,
Your body
you're forced
doesn't
to make a decision.
Your body doesn't function. Yeah.
Right. Above 140, you start to lose your fine motor skills above everything else.
Yeah.
This is your fine motor skills, right? Grabbing keys,
Yeah.
holding on to something, making some sort of like fist movement.
Squeezing a trigger.
Or jerking the trigger versus slowly squeezing the trigger to the rear, right? Those things, right? Those things you get by training. And you can get that training through i12, peace of mind training, or anywhere else in the world, but make sure you're getting the proper training from certified individuals, not just people who have said not people who have said, I know this, I know that, they took an online course. You have to have training from people that have been there and done that and successfully completed those scenarios, not just the training courses. Jeff, I hope that answers your question.
Jeff, if you're still listening, let me give you a free tip. I see you in the local market all the time. You know that, and I know that. Let me ask you a question. You know all the exits are in there?
Marinate on that.
All right.
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, ironically, this pushes right in, segues right into where I wanted to go with adapt or die. There are two things. There's three things you can do in any situation: something, nothing, or what works. And you don't know what works until you try it, or if you've been there and done that. Right now, Jeff, what Rennie just said, now you're going to start looking for every exit sign. And then here's another free tip. Are those exit signs available to you, or are they blocked? And if they're blocked, where's the next one? And what's your plan when you can't get to the first one? Right? It's a chess game. 1, 2, 3. Think 4 moves ahead, right? So adapt or die. Things change very fast, especially in life and especially in an active, violent situation. The ability to adapt is crucial. Remember what Clint Eastwood said long time ago in when he played Gunny Highway, improvise, adapt, and overcome, right?
Yep.
Situation awareness lets you see the shifts before they hit you, right? They give you the edge to adjust your strategy and stay ahead of the curve. Left of bang, right? Let's talk about left of bang just for a second, right? I mentioned it earlier, but bang is your opportunity. Bang is where you're going or what's happening around you. You don't want to be caught. I always say that wrong. You don't want to be caught in bang. You want to stay, where are we in the video? Left of bang. So what does that mean? You start pulling at the threads. Bad equals good. What is the baseline? What is normal for this situation? What are the anomalies? You see 3 anomalies, you make a decision. GTFO, draw your weapon, get out, get to the authorities. But that's baseline. That's anomalies, and that's decision. And we could go over this, Rennie, 50, 60 times. I don't think it matters. as long as you understand that you have to learn what the baseline is for every decision.
Just for the record, I'm going to advocate self-rescue because there's no telling how long law enforcement's going to take to get to you.
Or rescue, right?
You know that as well as I do.
Right. Marinate on that for a second. Self-rescue.
On any given night, I've told I've dispatcher's call. We get a call like, you know what? Tell them to hang on. It's going to be a while. I'm tied up. You know.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. Right. What's the national average? The national average for a professional response once you dial 911. I'm not talking about rural avenue. I'm not rural areas. I'm not talking about central suburbia. I'm talking about the national average. You know what that is? Once you dial 911 till someone comes and helps you?
I guess 10 to 12 minutes anyway.
Yeah, 8 to 11 is the national average.
Yeah.
You know, my favorite saying is, once you dial 911, what's your plan?
You got to have the plan before you dial 911 because, like I said, they're not coming. They're not coming to you right away.
Right. Right. So what? Prepare to self-rescue. Where do you get that training?
Peace of mind training and i12 GIA.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what is your overall well-being? Having a plan, right? The chill pill for stress is, we already know life can be a roller coaster. Situational awareness is like having a chill pill in your back pocket that you could pop at any time. When you know what's coming and you're prepared, stress takes a back seat and you ride the waves with a calm confidence. Now, when your heart rate goes above 150 or 140, actually, 140, got it. When your heart rate goes above 140 and you lose your fine motor skills, you start to deprive yourself of oxygen. Physiologically, when you deprive yourselves of oxygen, you start to make bad mistakes. What I mean by bad mistakes?
Your brain,
not baseline, not a decision.
Your brain is not functioning the way it should.
Right.
You make decisions you normally wouldn't make.
Right. Stress induced, right?
Yep. So
that takes away from your calm and confident presence. Calm and confident presence is a superpower, super ability in life to get you through anything. All right, folks, we're coming up to another break. But when we come back from the break, I want to talk real quick, or really at length, either way. I don't know, we'll figure it out, about productivity hacks and quality of life upgrades when we talk about situational awareness. It is your calmness and your sense of chill is your superpower. Marinate on that while we hit this break. We'll be right back. Thank you.
No matter what you are, I will always be with you. Doesn't matter what you do, girl. Ooh, girl, want you. No matter where you go, I will always be around. Won't you
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. So, productivity hacks. Ever feel like your day is slipping away? I do, most every day. Situation awareness is your productivity hack. It's about knowing your deadlines, reading the room, right? Knowing what is actually going on versus what your perception is, and then making every minute count. Imagine being the hero of your own life, not just a spectator. How about that? How about that? Right? Now, quality of life upgrades. Picture this: a life where you're not just reacting, but living on your own terms. Situational awareness is the key to that upgrade. It's about making smart choices, maintaining your relationships, and having the kind of life you want. Now, I'm going to quote an old friend of mine, Kip Teetsort. You guys don't know him, but he's also one of the old founders of Defensive Tactics for EMS. He always used to say, and I coined this phrase all the time: preparation is not paranoia. You're not paranoid if you want to prepare for what's going on. We live in a world where, holy shit, we can't tell the future, but we know what's going on, right? Speaking of crisis management, we have crisis every day, inside our head, outside our heads. Everyone's, you know what the 7 P's are, right?
Proper planning prevents piss poor performance.
Poor performance, right? Right? Absolutely. Yes, 7 P's, right? And then an emergency on your part does not constitute an emergency on my part, right? Right. So, crisis management. Be a chaos coordinator. Life throws us curveballs every day, every minute of every day, if you pay attention enough. Situational awareness is your chaos coordinator. When everything's going nuts and the world is exploding around you, you're the one who sees through the madness, the bullshit, and makes sense of the situation. And you figure out the best move. It's like, it's exactly like being the calm, not before the storm, but during the storm. You know? Now,
I gotta say one
that
thing. I was during the break. I was talking to my lieutenant, and I said that we need to go back to the basics, like when we were growing up, because we're pretty much the same age. We knew how to handle this shit. We didn't need a bunch of fucking textbooks or people like you and me telling everybody what to do. It was ingrained in us. We knew how to handle it. And then came along this fucking bullshit called diversity, equality, and fucking inclusion. And that went and fucked things up. But that's why I'm the way I am today. You have to have a no-nonsense mentality to survive. Anything short of that, might as well just put on the wool sword on your back and head off, because you're going to be a sheep.
You know, that's perfect segue to where I wanted to push this right now, right? I agree with you 100%.
Does this mean we're going steady?
Sure. I like you. You're a good guy. I like the facial hair, right? So, cultural and global awareness. What? World wizardry, right? In a globalized world, cultural IQ is your magic wand. Situational awareness isn't just about knowing your backyard. It's about understanding different cultures. We need to know what the baseline for different cultures are before we can actually figure out what the anomalies are. You know, it's not about being ignorant. It's about understanding. It's about understanding different cultures. It's like having a passport to navigate the complexities of our interconnected world, right? When I was in Saudi Arabia in 1991, we had a crash course on, the Arab and the Muslim world. And one of the biggest things I remember was never offer your left hand to an Arab or a Muslim to shake their hand. Do you know why?
That's the hand that they wipe with.
Yeah. In the desert. Absolutely, right?
I took the same class.
The rest is right? Yep. So I didn't know that. And that stuck with me in 1990. I'm not going to do the math, but it's a couple years ago, right? Cultural awareness, because you have to know what you have to know what your baselines are before you can discover what your anomalies are. Makes sense, right?
Another one is never touch another and never touch an Arab woman unless it's your wife.
Right.
I
Or
found
their
that out the hard way when I was in Israel. A woman tripped and fell, and I went to help her up, and a Palestinian pointed a AK-47 at me and threatened to shoot me. My Israeli interpreter said, "Back off. Let her lay there and bleed. That's not your problem." But instinctively, being an American, your first inclination is to help.
Well, being a man amongst men.
That
not
almost
just
cost,
America.
that one almost cost me my life. Yep.
Yeah. That's it. Then that's a great opportunity for you to do more research.
Yeah.
You didn't know.
Before you travel. Yeah.
You didn't know.
Yeah.
Right. So when we talk about things like that, we talk about training and skill development. What training? What skill development? Skills that pays the bills, right? Yeah, as we say on the street, if you will, right? You want to be a master ninja, right? Situational awareness is your training ground. It's not just a skill; it's a lifestyle. And, I'll say that again. It's not just a skill; it's a lifestyle. You can't just say, "Oh, I'll be situational aware when something happens," or "I'll be situational aware later." I don't feel like being situationally aware. I'll tell you this. Situational awareness is a gift and a curse. Depends on who you ask and what time of the day. Rennie, do you believe that last statement?
I believe, yeah, it is. It is a gift. For you and I, it's a gift. For a lot of other people, it's a curse. Absolutely. I agree. Yep. Unfortunately, it's a fact of life today and a necessity.
Yeah.
It's not a necessity a lot of people are lacking. They'd rather go buy that $3.99 cup of Starbucks rather than invest in something that's going to save their lives. And God bless them. That's their choice.
Right. That is their choice. You have the freedom of choice. You also have the freedom to level up if you want. Sharpen your senses, become the kind of person who owns every room. You don't have to own it physically and be the biggest, loudest person in the room. In fact, the majority of the people who own the room are always the quietest, the quiet professionals.
Yeah.
And for those of you who know what that statement means, thank you. If you know what that statement means, right? The quiet professionals. Let's sum this up real quick. Life is like an upgrade button. Situational awareness, that's the name of that upgrade button. It's not just a concept. It's actually the theory, and we'll call it the superpower that helps you in your life. Whether you're dodging trouble, making power moves at work, making power moves in your relationship, making power moves on live podcast, my man, right? It's just about the difference between being a spectator and being the star of your show. The spectator, meaning watching it go by as it's happening, or the star of your show, of course, you have situational awareness. You saw this, you were able to read the script, you were able to have baseline anomalies, and you made a decision, and now you're watching this left of bang. You're watching this shit happen. Rainey, that's all I got, buddy.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add?
No, but I'll leave it at this. It's Christmas time. If anybody's interested in any type of situational awareness training, how to survive active shooter events, reach out to POMT.org. We'll give you the price. If we can't do it in person, we'll do it virtually. And because it's Christmas time, out of the goodness of our hearts, if you sign up before Christmas, 10% off. You get the free training materials emailed to you if you take it virtually, and you can follow along. We're here to help you.
Excellent. Rennie, thank you. You're very generous this holiday season. Very generous. All right, folks. This has been Situational Awareness, real talk with real people. I am Lee Schwartzberg with Peace of Mind Training. My co-host, my esteemed co-host, Rennie Archambault with i12 GIA, the best in the business. I hope you learned something today. And if you have any questions or you're watching this after it's live, feel free to contact us and we will work something out for you. Remember, preparation is not paranoia. Thank you all for watching. Have a wonderful day. Rennie, I'll talk to you soon, my friend.